Hey everyone, Mr. Kaczynski here, working with quadratic equations out of IXL's Algebra 1 skills. Today, solving a quadratic equation using square roots. Pretty basic today. The idea behind, well, first of all, a quadratic equation is any equation that's got f squared, or a variable squared as its biggest exponent, 2. So, and the opposite of squaring something is taking its square root. So, if we want to solve this equation, we'll just take the square root of f squared, which is f, and we'll also take the square root of 144, which is 12. All right, but actually there's also another answer here that will work, and that is negative 12. Okay, so it's actually two answers, 12 or negative 12. And also, there's another way to write that. IXL usually has you put in two boxes there, but we can use this idea of positive or negative 12, use that symbol there to indicate there's two different answers. Let's check our answers. All right, so if f squared equals 144, does 12 squared equal 144? Well, 12 times 12 is 144, yeah. So that's definitely true. So we know 12 is the correct answer. And does negative 12 squared equal 144? Well, negative 12 times negative 12, a positive times or negative times a negative is a positive. So that works as well. So you can see that there are two answers. Very unique thing about quadratic equations is you can get two answers. All right, so on this one, let's solve it by getting h squared by itself first on the left side of the equation. So we're going to add 100 to both sides, and that'll give us h squared equals 100. 0 plus 100 is 100. Then we'll take the square root of both sides, and that's where we get our solution, which is that at h equals positive or negative 10. 10 squared is 100, negative 10 squared is 100, and 100 minus 100 equals 0. Switching pace here a little bit, how many solutions does this equation have? So if we were to solve it, we might as well, and we took the square root of both sides, we'd get z equals whatever the square root of 0 is. Well, the square root of 0 is 0, and we're not going to put plus or minus 0. So that's our only solution. There's only one thing squared that gives us 0, and that is 0. So our answer here is going to be one solution. How many solutions does the equation have? It just has one solution. And on that topic, down here, if we were going to solve this equation to figure out how many solutions it has, the first thing we do is add 63 to both sides. And negative 97 plus 63 is negative 34. So we'd end up with r squared equals negative 34. Well, how can you square something and get negative 34? You can't square something and get a negative number. Whenever you square something, it's always going to be positive. So in this case, there is no, well, we'll be specific, no real solution. And you aren't going to understand why we have to put the word real in there quite yet, but there are imaginary solutions to this, but that's beyond the scope of an algebra course. So we'll just say no real solution to this equation. There's no way you can square something and get a negative number. All right, continuing on with solving quadratic equations that actually do have solutions. Let's add 9 to both sides of this equation. That'll give us 49 m squared equals 9. Then we'll divide both sides by 9. And it gets a little bit ugly here because, well, I'm sorry. Because I don't want to divide by 9. Actually, I want to divide by 49, don't I? All right, stick with me. All right, so 9's not divisible by 49, and it doesn't even share any common factors. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave this as 9 49ths. And then when we take the square root of both sides, obviously on the left, the square root of m squared is m. M times m is m squared. And on the right, don't forget, two answers, positive and negative. We'll take the square root of the numerator, square root of 9 is 3, and the square root of the denominator, the square root of 49 is 7. So 3/7 and negative 3/7 are our two solutions there. Don't be afraid of fractions. You can handle it. And one more here, just because it's got multiple steps. And it doesn't have 0 on the right like the last one did. So we'll start by adding 77 to both sides. That'll give us 8t squared equals whatever negative 45 plus 77 is, which is 32. When we divide both sides by 8 here, we actually do get a whole number, or an integer. So we get t squared. 32 divided by 8 is 4. And lastly, we'll just take the square root of both sides, and we get t equals plus or minus 2. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 minus 77 is negative 45. Negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times 8 is 32. And 32 minus 77 is negative 45. So both of those answers do solve this equation. All right, so solving a quadratic equation by using square roots will get much tougher from here, but at least we got to start to solving quadratic equations. Good luck.